we're gonna do a taste test of Girl Scout cookies, Samoas versus homemade Samoas versus knockoff Samoas from the grocery store. And we're gonna see which one's the best. But first I gotta make these Samoas. They say it's not that hard. I beg to differ. We gotta make some shortbread cookies, and then there's some toasting of coconut. Like, really, what could go wrong? All right, here we go. All right, we got our stick of butter, and that has to be at room temperature. We're gonna mix in some sugar, and then in another bowl, mix in some flour and salt, baking powder, and then mix that stuff together with some other. All right, here we go. My high-end blender. I have a bunch of other stuff that I don't have. It's part of this recipe. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so here we go. So now I got my butter and sugar mixed down, and I'm gonna start slowly adding in my flour, baking powder, and salt with my, I don't know if I was supposed to use the mixer, because this is a real pain in the ass to get the flour into this, but I feel like when you use a mixer with flour, you're just asking for like tough dough, like it's gonna be extra gluteny. So I'm doing it by hand, and then in the biggest irony of it all, after I get done mixing this pain in the ass stuff with no moisture, then they want me to add milk. So milk would have been handy, right? Okay, what feels like about 12 hours later, I gave up on using the spatula, and I'm using my well-washed hands to try and get this dough together. It's just kind of falling apart. So I'm gonna assume that's what it's supposed to do, because now I need to add some milk. Okay, got our milk. They suggested using whole milk, which I don't usually use. So I got this little whole milk, and that was making me feel really strong. So we're gonna put 2 tablespoons. Oh, by the way, I cut everything in this recipe in half, because when you've never made something before, why not check with the recipe? That's always a recipe for destruction. Okay, all right, so now I'm gonna mix my vanilla and milk in together. It's very official. And that's going right into my dough that doesn't wanna mush into a ball. So here's hoping that 2 tablespoons of milk and 1/8 of a teaspoon of vanilla is enough to make this congeal. From here, we're gonna put it in the fridge for half an hour, and then we'll come back. I'm supposed to make this 1/8 of an inch. I feel like that's fairly specific. Not really wanting to spread too well just yet. I do this with sugar cookies too, because again, that way my sugar cookies don't get real fluffy. You know how they'll sometimes like poof up. So much better than just buying some freaking Girl Scout cookies. All right, I again don't have a lot of dough because I did this as a half batch, because like, pain in my ass. So now I gotta get the, so I also don't have cookie cutters. They're like, use a donut cutter. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing until you put that in there. I also want to say somewhere later, I'm supposed to use a double broiler. Yeah, I don't have one of those either. It's gonna be fine. So what I'm using for my cookie cutter is, shoot. I feel like this is way too thick. Like that's like a 1/2 inch, not 1/8 of an inch. All right, so here we go. My super professional cookie cutters. Actually, it is the lid off of this powdered sugar sifter. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be, these are gonna be so good. Okay, so now I gotta cut these. And then for the center part, I am using, because why not? I washed it, or I'm gonna. The medicine cap off of my dog's allergy medicine. What a world we live in. I'm gonna try it. That could be going better, but you know, it's working. All right, so I have my dough cut out. I'm gonna put this into the oven, and you know, we'll see what happens first. Of course, it would be great if like the cookies were just done now, but no, it's just like the base. Now you gotta do some chocolate coconutty caramel. I don't have a double boiler, not sure what I'm gonna do stuff. So we'll see. Okay, so I got the second batch in cooking. Look at. Anyway, I just wanted to go back over the fact that I was talking about not adding flour, but rather rolling your cookies out between 2 pieces of parchment paper. These cookies really did not change shape at all. Look at that, right? Second batch probably not gonna be as good because I might have forgotten to like start the timer. And now I don't know how long it's been in there, but again, it's fine, it's fine. All right, step 42 to making your Samoas at home. What a great idea. Okay, so I'm gonna take my parchment paper from the cookies, and reusing it, whatever. And then it says to use, well, I cut the recipe in half. So I'm gonna use 1.5 cups of sweetened coconut. So when it works, like, can't you just buy toasted coconut? And the answer is, I don't know. I have no idea. Here we go. All right, so the The coconut we're going to cook for 10 to 15 minutes, giving it time to brown. Time to hurry up and wait. My favorite part of making cookies. By the way, while the coconut is cooking, I'm going to do this next ball pain step, which is unwrapping a whole bag of Werther's caramels so that I can, not using the double boiler, we're going to stick these in the microwave and it's going to be good. Okay, so right now my coconut is finishing browning, toasting, if you will, and 12 hours later, I unwrapped this freaking bag of caramels, so that was fun right there. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of milk. The cookie recipe calls for using a double boiler. I don't have a double boiler. Yeah, maybe I have a double boiler. I don't think I have a double boiler. So I'm gonna do this in the microwave, especially since the side of the package gives the instructions for making carameled apples and says to put it in the microwave. Like freaking. Okay, I'm in the middle of cooking the caramel and they're like stir often. So this might be my first time trying to stir this. It's going super well, like just amazing. All right, who's ready for some chaos? My caramel's almost done and I gotta get my coconut out, so here we go. So now it says to, I might add, quickly mix half of this caramel with the coconut, and then I have to kind of frost the top of the cookies with the caramel as well, so that it like forms a sticky base. So here are my, I can't even believe, if you were doing like a whole batch, what the hell would you do? Because then you got the same amount of time to get the whole thing done. All right, so I'm dumping what I feel is a whole lot of coconut into my bowl. Close enough. Now we're gonna mix in half of this. We'll call that half. And now I'm gonna try to stir this together. Well, that's some bad timing, isn't it? Okay, well, I wanna see the rest of my spatulas are in the dishwasher, so probably from the other 85 steps of making these freaking Samoa cookies. So I think that's gonna be pretty good right there, okay? All right, I'm pulling it in over the bowl instead so I don't have this much hot caramel on my finger to clear off of my cabinet. So we have our cookies. I gotta tell you, I don't, taste-wise, I don't think it's gonna suck, because if you put if you put toasted coconut and caramel together, like there's no escaping deliciousness. Nobody can screw that up. So I'm gonna let these cool again, and then we get to move on to the next phase, which is adding the melted chocolate. Yay. Okay, so my cookies are cooled, and now I'm going to put the chocolate chips in the microwave, melt these suckers down, and then dip the cookies, and then drizzle the chocolate over them. And I don't have a piping bag, so I'm gonna use a plastic bag because we all know plastic and hot food go to awesome together. Okay, I got my chocolate ready. And we're gonna try to somehow magically dip the bottom of the cookies without me burning myself on hot chocolate. So I have my chocolate, and I'm going to attempt to drizzle this across my cookies. I shouldn't have picked it up. They look pretty reasonable. They look like Samoas, and if they taste good, even if they don't taste like Girl Scout Samoas, at least hopefully, god dang, they better taste good. Okay, so I tried one of the Samoa cookies that I spent way too long making, was way too much effort, and was it worth it? No, it was not. So if you need Samoa Girl Scout cookies year round, you need Samoa Girl Scout cookies. You know, I'd buy a lot of them, stick them in the freezer, and show some restraint, man. Good luck.